Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're not journeying through current events or scientific breakthroughs. Instead, we're embarking on something, well, truly unique, I think. It's a deep dive into the profound echoes of a world that, for many, exists primarily in memory and, myth. We're going to immerse ourselves in the rich tapestry of Guild Wars 1. But not just through cold historical facts. We're going to experience it through the living, breathing chronicle, a devoted player and lore keeper known as Lóng Tíng. Our sources today are really special. They include Lóng Tíng's own memoirs, personal reflections, alongside the carefully preserved records of the Grey Chronicler, Shedelin. Good. What we have here is less a rigid historical account and more a blend of memory, raw emotion, and the myths that grow around profound experiences. It's sort of an invitation, really, to sit by the fire and truly feel the lore, to understand its beating heart.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how the source material isn't just recounting a series of events. It's reflecting on their profound, sometimes, spiritual impact. This approach allows us to explore not just what happened in Tyria, but why it mattered, the emotional weight of its history, and the deep lessons it offers about resilience, sacrifice, and the enduring nature of conscious choice. This isn't just about facts. It's about the very soul of a world as shaped by those who walked within it.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack this sweeping saga chronologically. We'll start with the devastating searing and move through to the ominous rise of the Elder Dragons. We'll do this through the deeply personal lens of Lóng Tíng, exploring the pivotal moments, the iconic characters, the unique factions, and the enduring themes that truly shaped Guild Wars 1. So what does this all mean for us as we explore these echoes of Tyria? It means a deep dive into stories of sacrifice, betrayal, unwavering duty, and the persistent, unquenchable light of hope in the face of overwhelming darkness. Now, before we dive into the chronological narrative of Tyria as we know it, let's open with a reflection from Lóng Tíng themselves, just to set the stage for the deeply personal journey we're about to undertake. The world I remember, it lives not in dusty scrolls, but in the heart's echo. It breathes in the green of lost fields, the sting of a burning sky, the silence of petrified trees. I am Lóng Tíng. I walked in Tyria. I fought not for glory, but for meaning, and I learned this, that a true story is not just of what happened, but of what remained.
What lessons echoed in the silence after the battles faded?
Wow, that's a powerful way to begin.
Isn't it? It truly captures the spirit of what we're exploring today. Okay, let's unpack this incredible journey. Part 1, the Shattering of Old Worlds Prophecies Campaign. Our story in Lóng Tíng's journey, it really begins in an era of perceived tranquility, a time almost idyllic in its memory. This is the pre-Searing Foundations, spanning from 0 AE, that's after Exodus, the game's calendar system, marking the time after the human exodus from Canthanar to 1070 AE. This was a period imagined as a golden age, a time when the 6 human gods themselves had bestowed the gift of magic upon mortals.
A powerful blessing, yeah, one that shaped the very fabric of society and governance.
Exactly. We see the majestic rise of human kingdoms. Ascalon, this proud warrior nation, famed for its chivalry, its strongholds, or an ancient and magically potent land home to the god's own city of Ara, and Creta, a lush, verdant realm known for its beauty and burgeoning trade.
It was a period defined by stability, marked by the active presence, or at least the very recent memory, of divine intervention. Life was, well, by all accounts, prosperous and seemingly secure, but this initial setting is absolutely crucial because it establishes a baseline of peace, prosperity, and divine favor that makes the subsequent tragedies all the more devastating.
Right, and frankly, incomprehensible to the people living through them.
Exactly. It paints a picture of a world operating under one set of assumptions: that magic is unequivocally a gift, that stability is a constant, that their kingdoms are inherently secure under divine protection. But beneath that veneer of peace, well, the seeds of ancient conflict were already germinating.
Like the Char.
Precisely. The Char, a formidable Leonine race, had been driven from their ancestral lands by human expansion long before this period. They retreated beyond the northern mountains, nursing this deep-seated grievance and a fierce desire for retribution.
So it wasn't just a quiet period.
No, not at all. It was a tense prelude, with an ancient conflict simmering, ready to boil over and shatter the world. There was also, maybe, a growing internal complacency, a reliance on the gods that perhaps dulled humanity's own vigilance.
And Lóng Tíng, our chronicler, remembers this period with such a profound sense of nostalgia, but tinged with this tragic irony that only hindsight gives you, right? They reflect on their earliest moments in Tyria, saying, I did not know when I first woke in Ascalon's fields that I would lose so much and gain even more. Guild Wars was not a game to me. It was a place where my choices mattered. It was a place where they remembered the green of Ascalon. It was the color of peace, of life, before the sky burned.
You can almost feel the weight of that memory, that stark contrast between the vibrant, unsuspecting peace and the unimaginable devastation to come.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, how the memory of such peace amplifies the impact of a devastating loss. What must it mean for a world to be gifted such potent magic, and then for that very same power to be wielded as an instrument of unimaginable destruction against it?
It raises a vital question about the nature of power itself, I think. A gift, when not understood or respected or contained, it can tragically become a profound curse. The very source of Tyria's prosperity magic becomes the instrument of utter destruction in the searing. It sets a chilling precedent.
Signaling early on that victory in Tyria, well, if it comes at all, it will often demand an unimaginable cost.
Right, fundamentally reshaping the land and the very identity of the people within it. This initial cataclysm establishes the tone for all subsequent conflicts. Nothing truly ends cleanly, and every victory leaves behind indelible scars.
And reshape it did, in the most brutal way imaginable. This brings us to 1070 AE, the year of the searing and the truly apocalyptic fall of Ascalon. This wasn't just a battle, it was a cataclysm, almost biblical in proportions.
Yeah. The Char, having secretly cultivated this new, horrific form of magical warfare under the guidance of their manipulative Flame Legion shamans, they unleashed the searing upon the unsuspecting human kingdom of Ascalon. It was a magical devastation wrought by immense fiery cauldrons raining down rock and molten earth. The sky didn't just burn.
It screamed. Ascalon, that proud green kingdom, was not merely defeated, it was shattered. Its fertile lands turned to ash and scarred ruin, its proud towers to rubble. Cities like Ren and Sirmia were just gone.
This event is truly the singular, cataclysmic catalyst for the entire Prophecies campaign, and a defining psychological scar for all of Tyria. It's not merely a tactical defeat or a political upheaval, it's an environmental and societal transformation of the most profound kind.
Imagine the very land itself groaning and tearing apart as unleashed magic reshaped it into a wasteland.
Exactly. The searing wasn't just physical destruction, it was a psychological trauma that never truly healed for the Ascalonian people. It fundamentally altered their identity, forcing them into this desperate, unending exodus, and embedding a deep-seated hatred for the Char that would persist for centuries.
And the Flame Legion's role. Their zealous theocratic rule over the Char, driven by the belief that their gods, who turned out to be servants of an elder dragon, demanded this devastation. That really amplified the horror of it all.
It did. It added this layer of fanaticism that made it seem almost inevitable, almost preordained in their eyes.
Lóng Tíng's personal memory of this is chilling, almost prophetic in its starkness. I remember the sky red, broken, roaring with flame. The searing came not as a moment, but as a wound that never truly healed.
The imagery is just
vivid,
visceral. And central to this desperate exodus was the figure of Prince Rurik. Prince Rurik emerges from this tragedy as a truly poignant and heroic character. Born into royalty, he's depicted as this noble leader fighting like a lion, not for his crown, but purely to lead the Ascalonian survivors.
His primary dedication was to protect his people, right? Not to rule or seek glory for himself.
Precisely. He represents a desperate hope, a flickering flame against overwhelming odds, a light against the encroaching, all-consuming darkness. But his journey is ultimately a tragic one, a testament to the immense cost of the searing.
Absolutely. Lóng Tíng remembers their unwavering loyalty to him, saying, "Prince Rurik, I followed him with loyalty. His death stays with me. A reminder that even heroes can fall, even good intentions can burn." Lóng Tíng openly wept for the hope that died with him. His final words. They were a powerful testament to his pure selflessness, resonating with such a deep sense of duty.
If I fall, it will not be for glory, but so that others may live. That is enough.
Chilling. He truly embodied the spirit of persistence, even in the face of despair, famously saying, "We will see the sun again, even if it has hidden itself."
It's a powerful statement of resilience, even if it's one he doesn't live to see fully realized, dying bravely while protecting his people from the Stone Summit dwarves.
Yeah, that betrayal. We also have a fragment from an Ascalonian survivor's lament that perfectly captures this collective anguish. "The bells of Ren rang once, I still hear them in my dreams. The city burns, and I burn with it."
It's that personal aching grief, multiplied across countless lives, that makes this devastation so real, so truly impactful.
From the fiery ashes of Ascalon and the heartbreaking loss of Prince Rurik, the journey continued. a desperate trek lasting from 1070 to 1072 AE. This was an arduous passage through a truly shattered Tyria, where our chronicler, alongside the player character, navigated desolate and ruined landscapes. This includes the haunted ruins of Or, once a magnificent kingdom home to the gods' grandest cities now sunk beneath the waves. A silent, submerged testament to a forgotten divine age and the cataclysmic departure of the gods themselves.
And then the treacherous Shiver Peak Mountains, a frozen expanse home to warring dwarven factions. And there we encounter the duplicitous Stone Summit, the sect driven by xenophobia and a fervent, misguided belief in their own supremacy over the traditional Deldrimor dwarves.
And finally, the cursed Maguma jungle, thick with its own dark secrets and hidden dangers, where a sinister human organization, the White Mantle, exerts this terrifying, brutal control over the populace.
Sacrificing innocence to ancient alien beings known as the Mursat. Yeah.
This segment of the journey really emphasizes the raw, unrelenting struggle for survival and the continuous unveiling of new, layered threats.
It quickly becomes clear that the Char were just the beginning, right?
Definitely.
It introduces deep layers of internal conflict, like the Stone Summit dwarves obsessed with purity and power, betraying their own kin, the Deldrimor, driven by a hate that froze their hearts harder than any ice.
Creating an internal civil war within the very race meant to be guardians of the mountain.
Exactly. And it also highlights the insidious hidden dangers of places like Maguma, where the threats aren't always overt. They can be subtle, political, and profoundly insidious, perhaps even wearing the smile of a friend, as Lóng Tíng notes, referring to the White Mantle's false promises.
It's a journey that continually reinforces the theme of a world that is not just physically broken, but morally compromised, requiring constant vigilance and difficult, often bloody, choices.
Lóng Tíng's reflections on this journey are particularly insightful. They paint such a vivid picture of the sheer difficulty of navigating such a fractured world. They recall, the Shiver Peaks were cold not only in wind, but in spirit. The Stone Summit dwarves betrayed their kin, driven by hate that froze their hearts harder than any ice.
And then of the Maguma jungle, a place dense with both foliage and dark secrets. In the Maguma jungle, the air itself seemed to suffocate, thick with secrets. There I learned that betrayal does not always come with claws. Some treachery wears the smile of a friend.
Wow. That really paints a picture of a journey where the environment itself feels hostile, and trust, even among your own kind, is a rare and precious commodity.
This continuous unveiling of threats, from the physical invasion of the Char and the internal strife of the dwarves to the insidious treachery of the White Mantle and their otherworldly masters. It culminates in the ultimate antagonist of the Prophecies campaign, the Lich Lord.
An undead sorcerer of immense power.
Yeah.
This isn't just another warlord or a corrupt human leader. He's described as a mad creature who, in his twisted pursuit of power, sought to unleash the powerful, destructive beings known as the Titans.
These Titans were, what, primal elemental forces?
Something like that. Ancient instruments or perhaps even fallen manifestations of a banished god, capable of unraveling the very fabric of existence. This introduces a cosmic threat, moving decisively beyond mortal conflicts to a danger that could unmake the very world itself.
Yes, the stakes become truly immense, escalating from a regional conflict to a threat against all reality. Lóng Tíng's motivation against the Lich is pure, unwavering duty. I faced him, not from hate, from duty.
The defeat of the Lich marks a monumental victory, a triumph that literally saves the world from cosmic annihilation. But, as Shadowlin observes, the wounds ran deep.
It makes you consider for yourself how these successive layers of threat, from physical invasion by a vengeful enemy to magical cataclysm that reshapes the land, to insidious internal betrayals, and finally to a cosmic annihilation, profoundly shape a hero's understanding of their world.
It forces a hero, or indeed any individual, to fundamentally expand their perspective on survival and purpose. What begins as a relatively localized conflict against the Char escalates into this multiplanar existential threat, demanding not just strength and martial prowess, but immense wisdom, sacrifice, and an understanding of forces beyond mortal comprehension to combat.
It shows that even a profound victory can leave indelible marks on the land and the collective psyche.
Right, setting the stage for future vulnerabilities and requiring constant vigilance. The defeat of the Titans, while a necessity, leaves a power vacuum that, well, unknowingly contributes to future dangers.
Part 2. The Scarred Beauty of Kanta, Factions Campaign. Our journey continues, bringing us to a completely new continent, the distant and exotic land of Kanta in 1072 AE. Here we encounter a different kind of devastation, one born not of external invasion, but of ancient betrayal. Kantha's plague, and the chilling legacy of Shiro's curse.
This vibrant, isolationist land, far to the south, was being ravaged by a deadly plague that grotesquely transformed people into the afflicted.
And what's truly insidious and unique about this plague is its source, the returned, vengeful spirit of Shiro Tagachi.
Shiro was no ordinary villain. He was once the emperor's favored bodyguard, a master assassin who, in an act of profound treachery, murdered the emperor during the harvest ceremony and seized immense power before being struck down.
And his malice didn't end with his death. His very death cry, amplified by his stolen magic, literally transformed the land itself.
Turning the vibrant, living sea into solid jade and the ancient, echoing forest into unmoving, petrified stone. It's unbelievable.
This faction's campaign presents a profoundly different kind of wound than the raw, physical destruction of the searing. It's one born of ancient betrayal, profound spiritual corruption, and unchecked ambition.
Which has literally and permanently scarred the very environment of Kantha. The plague isn't just a disease, it's a visible, horrifying manifestation of Shiro's lingering malice, an embodiment of the deep injustice and corruption that permeates Kantha.
It's a world where the past doesn't just haunt, it physically manifests itself in the landscape, a constant, silent scream of Shiro's rage.
Yeah, it reminds us that spiritual wounds can be as devastating as any physical assault, perhaps even more so because they corrupt from within.
Lóng Tíng truly captures this unsettling, almost heartbreaking beauty of Kantha, they recall. When I journeyed to Kantha, I saw beauty carved in jade and stone and sorrow hidden beneath. And the imagery of Shiro's curse is just haunting, almost poetic in its desolation. The jade sea glittered beneath my feet, frozen in Shiro's death cry. The echo of all forests stood still as tombs.
It's a world where even the landscape carries the immense weight of a single horrific moment of betrayal. Imagine walking on a sea that once shimmered, now solid and unyielding.
Or moving through a forest where the leaves are silent and stone, never rustling again. Chilling.
And tragically, amidst this external devastation and profound magical scarring, Kantha was also plagued by its own deep-seated internal divisions, the Kurzik and Luxon conflict.
Right. This campaign deeply delves into the centuries-long animosity between these two powerful, culturally distinct factions, both of whom were trapped within the confines of Shiro's magical curse.
The Kurziks, artists and sculptors of the petrified forest, built grand Gothic structures of stone and shadow, valuing ancient tradition, artistry, and strict social hierarchy above all else.
In stark contrast, the Luxons were nomadic, proud, seafaring warriors of the Jade Sea, lovers of freedom, trade, and the untamed wildness of their existence.
These two peoples, locked in their cycles of pride, revenge, and ancient feuds, further destabilized Kantha even as the plague of the afflicted consumed its populace.
Their internal struggle severely hampered any unified effort against Shiro, showcasing how deeply entrenched grievances can be.
It's a powerful and deeply disheartening reflection on societal division, isn't it? Even in the face of an existential threat like the afflicted, their deep-seated grievances prevent unity.
Lóng Tíng observes this with a poetic sadness that really gets to the heart of the matter. Two lands frozen by the scream of a traitor, two peoples frozen in their feud.
It's almost as if their internal conflicts perfectly mirrored Shiro's own tormented, fractured soul.
We get a glimpse into the depths of these feuds and their proud identities through powerful in-world fragments. A Luxon warlord's diary reads, "The jade groans beneath our wheels. I feel the fury of our ancestors in every rut we carve. The Kurziks call us barbarians. But what are we? Free, and that is enough."
And from the Kurzik side, an inscription on a weathered stone in the Echovald. "May the tree bear roots forever. May the stone sing eternal." These aren't just lines. They show how deeply ingrained their identities, their traditions, and their conflicts were, often more potent than the external threat.
This division highlights how past grievances, if left unaddressed and allowed to fester, can create profound societal fractures that persist even when the entire society faces an existential external collapse.
Yeah. Their inability to fully unify against Shiro and the afflicted made his spiritual corruption even more potent, allowing the plague to spread unchecked and for more lives to be lost. It powerfully demonstrates that sometimes the greatest wounds a society endures are self-inflicted, born of an inability to look beyond historical animosities.
It also reflects a broader Tyrian truth. Internal discord is often as dangerous, if not more so, than any external enemy.
Within this fractured, scarred world, certain characters stood out, providing beacons of hope and wisdom. Master Togo, a revered ritualist, and Menlo, a powerful warrior monk.
Right, alongside other local heroes, they became crucial allies in the fight against Shiro. Togo is described by Lóng Tíng with deep reverence, almost as a spiritual anchor for the entire continent. Wise, patient, steadfast, Togo was Kantha's soul.
He represented the enduring spirit, profound wisdom, and moral clarity that Kantha desperately needed, constantly trying to guide its fractured people through their darkest hour.
Togo's role is absolutely critical. He embodies the moral compass and traditional wisdom that Kantha desperately needed, and he acts as a bridge between the player's world and Kantha's ancient ways.
His death, tragically, is a truly significant and deeply felt loss, leaving Kantha staggering in its aftermath, much like Prince Rurik's death impacted Ascalon.
It underscores the fragility of hope when its key proponents are lost, and the immense personal cost of confronting such powerful darkness.
His final words, as Lóng Tíng recalls, "May my blood silence his whisper," reflect his ultimate selfless sacrifice to weaken Shiro and buy time for the heroes to act.
And then there's the architect of so much of Kantha's suffering, the central antagonist of this campaign, Shiro Togachi. He's not just a run-of-the-mill villain.
No, he's a vengeful spirit seeking to regain life and immense corrupted power. His rage and unchecked ambition literally shattered Kantha, turning its natural beauty into petrified monuments to his malice.
Okay. Lóng Tíng reflects on facing him, saying, "I stood with Master Togo and Menlo, and when Shiro rose, I did not hesitate. I fought not for reward, but because someone had to stand between him and the world."
They also offer a profound, almost sympathetic insight into Shiro himself, understanding his twisted motivations. Shiro was no demon. He was a man who lost what he loved, and in that loss, tore the world.
That suggests that Shiro, in his tragic way, reflects our deepest weakness, showing how unchecked grief, coupled with boundless ambition and forbidden magic, can corrupt even the most skilled and celebrated individual.
Leading to cosmic-level devastation, yeah. What's fascinating here is that Shiro is presented not just as a monster, but as a cautionary tale rooted in a very human tragedy. His motivations, while profoundly destructive, stem from a place of immense personal loss and a desperate, misguided attempt to reclaim what he felt was taken from him.
It highlights how even understandable human emotions, when twisted and amplified by dark power and a lack of moral grounding, can lead to world-shattering devastation.
He truly is a mirror of humanity's darker impulses, a reminder that the path to ruin can often be paved with deeply personal pain.
And as Lóng Tíng remembers so vividly, even now, I remember the haunted streets of Kaining, the stillness of the petrified forest, the weight of history pressing down like the Jade Sea itself.
Kaining City itself became a harrowing symbol of this corruption and decay. It was a maze of rot and gold where wealth and ruin lived side by side.
A sprawling, densely populated metropolis that showcased extreme wealth alongside utter destitution. It was plagued by the physicalness. Afflicted, yes, but also seeped in a deeper, more pervasive despair, a societal rot born of inequality and neglect.
Kaining City truly illustrates how societal issues like extreme poverty, vast economic disparity, and the stark contrast between opulent wealth and crushing squalor can be as destructive and debilitating to a population as any magical plague.
Lóng Tíng's fight here wasn't just against physical monsters or spiritual corruption. It was against the pervasive despair itself, the apathy and hopelessness that grew in the shadowed alleyways.
It reveals the deeply intertwined nature of social decay and magical blight, showing that a world can be destroyed from within by its own inequalities just as effectively as by external threats.
Lóng Tíng's memory of Kaining is deeply personal and speaks to a profound sense of compassion amidst the chaos. Kaining taught me that not all enemies are monsters. Some are hunger, greed, the rot that grows when hope dies.
I fought not only the afflicted, but the despair that seeped into the stones. If I could bring one thing to Kaining, it was this, that someone still cared.
It wasn't just about clearing a path or defeating a monster. It was about fighting for the very soul of a place, for the flickering embers of humanity that remained within it.
The campaign culminates in the Harvest Temple, the sacred heart of Kanthan spirituality, where Shiro is finally defeated and his pervasive corruption is halted. However, Kantha remains profoundly scarred.
The Jade Sea and Echovald Forest remain frozen in their unnatural states, permanent monuments to the trauma they endured.
This reflects a recurring, profound theme in Guild Wars. Victory, while achieved and necessary, may save the world from immediate destruction, but the world will never be the same.
The scars linger, both physically on the land and emotionally in the hearts of its people, leaving an indelible mark that generations will carry.
So for you, the listener, How do the lingering scars of past conflicts, like those permanently etched into the landscape of Kantha, continue to influence a society's future even long after the immediate threat is gone?
It's a powerful idea that history isn't just what happened in the past, but what irrevocably remains, shaping identity and defining the future.
It raises an important question about true healing, doesn't it? Is it possible for a society to fully recover from such deep fundamental wounds, or are they forever defined by the cataclysms and betrayals they endured?
The enduring scars in Kantha suggest that recovery is a continuous, perhaps even endless process, one that requires constant adaptation and a profound acceptance of a changed reality.
It forces societies to find new definitions of beauty and new ways of life amidst the echoes of their past.
Part 3. The Descent into Darkness, Nightfall Campaign. From the scarred lands of Kantha, our journey takes us further south, across the vast oceans, to the golden continent of Ilona in 1075 AE. This is a land that, in legend, sings of golden sands, noble sun spears, and ancient gods. But here, darkness manifests differently. It arises not from external invasion or ancient betrayal, but insidiously from within its own noble houses.
Varesh Osa, a revered noble of the prosperous region of Vabi, a powerful and charismatic leader, falls under the insidious influence of Abaddon, the imprisoned god of secrets.
A former member of the 6 human gods who was banished for corrupting humanity.
Right. As this ancient malevolent corruption spreads its tendrils, the very fabric of reality begins to fray. And the terrifying realm of torment, Abaddon's prison and domain, a literal landscape of despair, begins to leak its madness into the mortal world, threatening to consume Ilona entirely.
This Nightfall campaign profoundly explores internal corruption in its most insidious and dangerous form. It's not an external invasion, but a malevolent, divine entity twisting noble intentions, amplifying ambition, and preying on despair.
Varesh Osa's descent is a truly tragic and powerful narrative. It highlights how even immense potential for greatness, born of a genuine desire to protect her people, can be corrupted by unchecked ambition and dark influence.
Leading her to make choices that ultimately doom those she swore to protect.
Exactly. The blurring of lines between worlds with the horrifying realm of torment literally seeping into Ilona symbolizes the complete collapse of natural order and the terrifying spread of despair, showing that the world's integrity is continually tested and its boundaries are far more fragile than anyone imagined.
Lóng Tíng's experience in Ilona is deeply personal and principled, reflecting a steadfast commitment to justice and hope. They vividly recall the moment they committed themselves to the region. In Ilona, I wore the sun spear proudly, not as a title, but as a promise.
They witnessed firsthand the tragic unraveling of the world around them, observing Varesh's descent, Abaddon's hunger, the way darkness can take root in even noble hearts.
The very desert, usually a place of silence and vastness, seemed to hold ancient, mournful memories for them. The desert sings. It sings of kings, of gods, of sins. It paints a picture of a land imbued with history and sorrow.
Amidst this growing chaos and the insidious spread of Abaddon's influence, the sun spears emerge as true keepers of hope and unwavering light.
The player, alongside Lóng Tíng, rises through their ranks, fighting alongside iconic heroes like Cormyr, the brilliant strategist and wise commander.
The sun spears guard Ilona not merely from duty but from love, a love for their land and its people that runs deeper than any decree.
Their solemn oath, each spear a promise, no one left behind, is a powerful counterpoint to the spreading darkness and corruption.
They represent an unwavering moral clarity and a persistent hope, even as the world around them descends into the literal embodiment of torment. Their structure, initially a military order, transformed into the symbol of collective resistance and protection.
Their commitment to their oath is palpable, almost spiritual in its intensity. Lóng Tíng explicitly states, "I became a sun spear not for the title, but for the promise, to be a light where darkness fell."
We also hear the echoes of their extraordinary courage in haunting in-world fragments, testament to their spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. A sun spear's final prayer, etched into the memory of survivors, speaks of ultimate sacrifice. The sands cover our bones, the night devours our names, but still we fight, still we hope.
And a sun spear recruit's last letter, written just before facing the full horror of torment. "I fear the shadows, but I fear more that no light will remain to drive them back."
Another sun spear, on the very eve of stepping into the realm of torment, declares with defiant courage, "I'm afraid, but courage is fear that stays. I go, I will not yield."
These aren't just lines. They are cries of unwavering resolve, illustrating that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over it.
These fragments powerfully illustrate the Sunspear's core identity. Their courage is not an absence of fear, but the profound ability to act despite it, to hold on to hope when despair seems absolute. They stand as a testament to the idea that even when all seems lost, the choice to continue fighting to embody light remains a vital force. They represent the everyday hero, the ordinary person making extraordinary choices.
Distinguishing them from the more tragic or flawed figures.
Exactly. It's a fundamental statement about human will and resilience in the face of divine horror.
Moving to the key figures in this saga of encroaching darkness. Varesh Osa stands as a truly tragic figure, a cautionary tale of ambition corrupted. Once potentially a great queen, a leader dedicated to the prosperity of Abi, she becomes Abaddon's puppet, leading her own armies and her people to ruin in her misguided quest for power and a perceived greater good.
Lóng Tíng sees her not just as a formidable enemy, but as a somber lesson. In her, I saw not just an enemy, I saw a warning. What happens when pride closes its ears to wisdom?
It's a chilling reminder that even noble intentions can pave the road to ruin.
Varesh serves as a potent warning about the seductive allure of power and the immense dangers of unchecked ambition. Her story underscores how even a desire for strength or a better future for her people can be twisted by malevolent influence,
Ultimately bringing utter destruction to her own people.
Her descent is a parallel to Shiro's, showing how internal corruption, whether through ambition or despair, is a recurring vulnerability in Tyria, consistently exploited by malevolent forces.
And then there is Abaddon himself, the ancient, imprisoned god of secrets, a fallen deity whose very essence corrupted Elona.
He represents cosmic evil in its purest form, a true primal force of destruction, a corrupting influence that has festered for centuries within his prison, yearning for escape and to plunge all of existence into his twisted domain.
Abaddon embodies the inherent dangers of unrestricted, divine power and the corrupting nature of forbidden knowledge. His existence poses an existential threat, not just to Elona, but to the very fabric of reality itself.
His defeat, while a monumental event that saves the world, has had far-reaching and incredibly complex consequences for Tyria, proving that some wounds are never truly closed.
And the elimination of one grand evil can inadvertently open the door to another. The void he leaves behind is not empty.
Which brings us to Cormyr, arguably the most pivotal character of the Nightfall campaign. After Abaddon's defeat, a defeat which rips a hole in the very fabric of reality, Cormyr makes an unprecedented sacrifice.
She ascends to godhood, binding the gaping rift left by Abaddon's fall. This is a truly unique ascension. She doesn't seek power, but accepts it out of dire necessity and profound duty.
Stepping into the mantle of the goddess of truth, Lóng Tíng describes her with deep admiration. A woman who became a goddess because no one else could, who gave up mortality to bind the realm of torment, not for ambition, for duty.
Cormyr's ascension isn't a power grab, it's an act of profound, selfless sacrifice. She steps into the terrifying, chaotic void left by a fallen god, preventing an even greater catastrophe that would have consumed Tyria entirely.
This highlights the enduring theme that true heroism sometimes means accepting an immense, unimaginable burden, not seeking a personal reward.
It also emphasizes that even with a goddess now guarding the gates, the world remains permanently touched by the other side, forever changed by the proximity of the realm of torment.
Leaving a permanent scar on the cosmic landscape of Tyria. It's a victory, but one that comes at the cost of a hero's very humanity.
The journey to this incredible climax leads through some of the most haunting and desolate landscapes imaginable. Across sun-drenched deserts, through opulent but decaying palaces, and ultimately into the poisoned dreams of the realm of torment itself.
Where the sky weeps blackness and the ground writhes with raw despair. Lóng Tíng vividly recalls the visceral horror of this dimension. I heard the madness in the walls, saw the hunger in the eyes of demons.
Abaddon is finally slain in a climactic battle, but his death leaves profound, enduring scars, irrevocably thinning the barrier between realms, a lingering vulnerability that would haunt Tyria for centuries to come.
The realm of torment is not just a location, it's a literal manifestation of despair and torment, a landscape of the collective soul made horrifyingly real.
The victory over Abaddon, while absolutely necessary for the survival of Tyria, felt hollow necessary, but costly.
The world is forever changed. It has gained a new goddess, but also profound new vulnerabilities and a constant reminder of the chaos lurking just beyond the veil.
The concept of victory with lingering shadows is incredibly powerful here, showing that some battles, even when won, fundamentally alter the landscape of reality itself.
The magic and energies of the gods are not something to be wielded lightly, and their rise and fall have profound physical consequences.
Part 4. The Last Echo, Eye of the North campaign. Our final major journey in Guild Wars 1 takes us back to the northern reaches of Tyria in 1078 AE, where we face a new, ancient, and relentless threat, one that signals an even grander, more terrifying age to come.
The rise of the destroyers.
Yeah, these monstrous subterranean minions of Primordus, one of the Elder Dragons, primordial forces of nature and destructive magic slumbering deep beneath Tyria, begin to emerge in overwhelming numbers from the deep places of Tyria,
Posing a new existential threat that threatens to consume the entire world.
This marks a critical and ominous shift in the overarching narrative of Tyria. While previous threats like the Char, Shiro, and Abaddon were profoundly destructive, the Destroyers signal the emergence of an ancient, truly existential force, the Elder Dragons. This campaign truly serves as a crucial bridge and a chilling foreshadowing of the future of Tyria, leading directly into the next major chapter of the world's history in Guild Wars 2.
Exactly. The destroyers themselves are not motivated by vengeance or ambition. They are a mindless, consuming, crystal-based force. A natural disaster made manifest, posing a threat unlike any faced before, driven only by the primal hunger of their master.
Lóng Tíng observes this new, creeping horror with stark simplicity, recognizing the dawning of a new, darker age. Primordus' shadow crept from the depths. The Destroyers came.
This sets the stage for a new kind of struggle, one that, unlike the previous campaigns, requires unprecedented unity across disparate races, recognizing a common, overwhelming enemy.
Indeed. This campaign fundamentally emphasizes the paramount importance of uniting the races of the North. The player character, alongside Lóng Tíng, takes on the crucial role of bringing together the Norn, the Asura, the Ebon Vanguard,
A reformed and pragmatic faction of the Char,
and the remaining, dwindling Dwarven population against the overwhelming Destroyer threat.
This focus on unity across disparate cultures, some of whom have historically been enemies, is a critical lesson for survival in a world facing overwhelming existential odds.
It transforms the conflict into a cause greater than myself, a necessity for collective survival over individual or racial pride.
It shows that ancient grievances sometimes must be set aside for the greater good of the world.
Here's where we truly get to delve into the fascinating cultures of these northern factions, seeing how they too are forced to adapt in the face of this new global threat. First, the Norn.
Lóng Tíng describes them as giants who honor the hunt, who place courage above all. Their song echoes in the mountains. Every battle becomes a song. Every loss, a lesson.
They are a truly spiritual people, defined by heroic deeds, personal glory, and the stories they tell, where greatness lives not just in triumphs, but in the honorable struggle itself, even in defeat.
They gain wisdom from their defeated spirit animals, and their culture revolves around proving themselves against great foes, a quality uniquely suited to fighting the destroyers.
The Norn powerfully illustrate a philosophy of life, deeply intertwined with their harsh, beautiful environment and a profound, almost spiritual respect for personal bravery.
Their approach to life and death, turning battles into songs and losses into hard-won lessons, suggests a people who find meaning and legacy not just in triumph, but in the honorable struggle itself.
Their individualistic spirit and their pursuit of glory in the eyes of their spirit animals become a unique strength against a mindless, consuming enemy.
They are a culture that faces overwhelming odds with a roar, not a whimper, finding beauty in the challenge.
Then we have the Asura, perhaps the most intellectually formidable race. Lóng Tíng characterizes them with both admiration and a touch of humor.
Small in body, vast in mind. The Asura saw the world as a machine, the universe as a formula. But behind their golems, their portals, their theories, hearts that felt, that feared, that cherished.
They're brilliant, often arrogant, and intensely logical, but also surprisingly emotional beneath their intellectual veneer, driven by a collective desire for progress and understanding.
And fiercely protective of their crews and their unique way of life. The Asura represent the pinnacle of intellect and innovation, pushing the boundaries of what's possible through their understanding of the world as a complex, solvable system.
Their technological prowess, their golems, their magical portals, and their intricate theories are critical to combating the destroyer threat.
Yet their underlying humanity, their capacity for fear, their deep loyalty to their crews, and their ability to cherish provides a vital balance to their often detached scientific approach.
It shows that even the most logical beings are, at their core, driven by deeper emotions and a powerful survival instinct.
Their intellect, though, also makes them keenly aware of the true existential nature of the Elder Dragon threat.
And finally, the Char, specifically from the perspective of the Abon Vanguard. This is a fascinating evolution from the Char we first encountered during the searing.
Lóng Tíng offers a nuanced, almost empathetic view of them. A people of fire, not evil, broken, shaped by war, driven by hate, until they broke free from old gods and chains.
This perspective connects directly back to the devastating searing, but offers a crucial glimpse into their complex evolution and future potential, hinting at their eventual breaking free from the manipulative, tyrannical grip of the Flame Legion and their false gods.
The Ebon Vanguard are a group of Char who have chosen pragmatism and tactical alliance over ancient grudges, seeing the bigger picture.
This perspective is absolutely vital because it fundamentally shifts the narrative of the Char from being a pure, monolithic enemy to a complex, traumatized people capable of change.
It suggests that while their initial actions, like the searing, were devastating, they were also shaped by past grievances and, crucially, by external manipulation from the Flame Legion shamans who twisted their ancestral beliefs.
Their later struggle for freedom from these false gods and oppressive chains foreshadows their ability to evolve beyond their cycle of vengeance and become formidable, if still fierce, allies against a common enemy.
It's a testament to the idea that even the most deeply ingrained hatred can, given the right circumstances, be transcended.
The culmination of this Northern Alliance, and perhaps one of the most poignant and bittersweet moments in the entirety of Guild Wars 1, is the Rite of the Great Dwarf and the establishment of the Hall of Monuments.
The dwarves, facing overwhelming odds against the relentless destroyers, a threat that targets the very heart of Tyria's subterranean world, their ancestral homes, choose a path of profound communal sacrifice.
They undergo the Rite of the Great Dwarf, a sacred ritual that transforms them from flesh and blood into living stone, sacrificing their corporeal forms to become unyielding guardians against the destroyer hordes.
Ultimately accepting extinction with honor and courage, the dwarves' sacrifice is a truly profound act of selflessness and duty, a decision to willingly give up their very corporeal form, their individual lives, for the sake of the world.
It highlights the theme of legacy and memory in the most literal, tangible way, ensuring their fight endures, engraved in stone, even as their race ceases to be in its previous form.
The Hall of Monuments, established as a sacred place to honor deeds and preserve legacy, serves as the physical manifestation of this theme. It's a place not just for boasting of individual triumphs, but for remembering the collective sacrifices made.
A permanent record of heroism that transcends individual mortality.
It's a powerful statement that memory can be a form of immortality.
Lóng Tíng's reflection on the dwarves' ultimate sacrifice is incredibly moving, capturing the immense weight of their decision. And the dwarves, they gave up flesh for stone so their oaths would outlive their beating hearts.
They recall watching this not with sorrow, but with respect, recognizing the profound courage in such a choice.
And of the Hall of Monuments itself, a place of quiet contemplation and enduring legacy. I built my monument not for myself, for memory, for what we tried.
It's a testament to the enduring power of deeds and the profound importance of remembering not just who won, but what was fought for and what was lost.
An in-world fragment, a dwarf's last toast, embodies this fierce, unyielding spirit. Stone we became, stone we remain. Let the dragons come. Let them break their teeth upon us.
And a poignant inscription from an unmarked statue in the Hall of Monuments, speaking to the quiet, unsung heroes. The world does not remember me. The hall does, and that is enough.
It's about the enduring impact of action, regardless of personal fame.
These fragments powerfully underscore that heroism isn't always about personal recognition or grandstanding, but about the profound impact of one's actions and the enduring legacy they create for the world.
The Hall of Monuments becomes a powerful symbol of collective memory and the acknowledgement of every individual contribution, regardless of how unsung or forgotten by the wider world.
It reinforces the idea that true worth is found in selfless action and the preservation of hope, a memory that stands sentinel against the darkness, echoing forward for future generations.
Part 5. The Enduring Themes and Legacy. So after traversing the burning fields of Ascalon, navigating the jade seas and petrified forests of Cantha, journeying through the scorching sands and tormented realms of Valona, and finally fighting alongside newfound allies in the frozen peaks of the north, certain profound themes emerge, weaving themselves through every chapter and binding all these Guild Wars stories together. The first and perhaps most resonant is the cost of power.
From the cataclysmic searing wrought by the Char, to Shiro's devastating death cry that transformed an entire continent, to Abaddon's insidious fury that nearly unmade reality itself, every grand exertion of power in Tyria, whether divine, magical, or personal, leaves indelible, often permanent, scars.
This is a fundamental, almost cruel truth in Tyria. Guild Wars consistently reminds us that victory, while necessary for survival, may indeed save the world from immediate destruction.
But the world will never be the same. The very land itself carries the physical memories of these cataclysms, serving as constant reminders of the price paid.
It raises a critical question about progress, about intervention, and about the profound sacrifices made for any form of triumph. Is it truly a victory if the world is forever diminished, if innocence is lost?
If the scars linger for centuries, the god's own gift of magic, initially a blessing, continually becomes the instrument of the world's greatest devastations, forcing a reevaluation of divine intervention itself.
Then there's the pervasive theme of unity and fracture. We saw it tragically in Ascalon's fall, fragmented by internal strife and woefully unprepared for external devastation.
Kenta suffered deeply from the deep seat of isolation and animosity of its Kurzik and Luxan factions, unable to truly unite against a common foe.
Ilana was corrupted from within, its noble hearts twisted by insidious influence, showing how internal rot can be as deadly as any invasion.
Yet, crucially, in the Eye of the North, the very survival of Tyria depended on the unprecedented unity of disparate races. Norn, Asura, Char, and Dwarves, who chose to set aside ancient grievances for a common cause.
As Shedolin aptly notes in their chronicles, every land, every people breaks under its own weight, and only courage and the willingness to cooperate can truly hold the pieces together.
This theme is vital because it explores the complex interplay between internal cohesion and external threat. It suggests that a society's greatest vulnerability often lies not in its enemies, but in its own divisions, its inability to overcome historical animosities or social disparities.
And, conversely, its greatest strength lies in its ability to overcome those divisions, to find common ground in the face of overwhelming odds.
It highlights the perpetual, painstaking challenge of building alliances and fostering empathy in a world of diverse, often conflicting interests.
The vivid illustration of Keening City's internal rot, where greed and disparity were as destructive as any plague, is a stark reminder that social decay can be just as insidious as magical blight.
And central to this entire saga, woven through every campaign, is legacy and memory. The Hall of Monuments, standing silent and enduring in the northern wastes, stands as Guild Wars' ultimate metaphor.
It's a physical representation that deeds truly matter. Stories matter. The world may, in its vastness, forget the individual hero or the specific sacrifice.
But the stone remembers. It preserves the history, the triumphs, and the heartbreaks for future generations, ensuring that lessons learned are not lost to the winds of time.
What's truly fascinating here is how the game itself reinforces its own lore by having the Hall of Monuments literally carry forward player achievements into the future.
Yeah, it blurs the line between game mechanics and narrative theme, emphasizing that the actions of players within the world contribute to its enduring history and shape its future.
It's a powerful statement about the human, or indeed any sentient race's, fundamental need to be remembered, to have their struggles acknowledged, and to pass on vital lessons to those who come after.
It suggests that legacy is not just about monuments, but about the living memory carried in the hearts of those who remember.
We've also seen a constant weaving of betrayal, duty, and sacrifice throughout these narratives, acting as moral anchors that reveal the deepest choices individuals make when faced with impossible odds.
Consider Prince Rurik's unwavering duty to his people and his ultimate selfless sacrifice to protect them.
Then there's Shiro Tagachi's profound betrayal, driven by ambition and greed, and its devastating, continent-altering consequences.
Verash Osa's tragic descent into betrayal under Abaddon's insidious influence, sacrificing her people for a twisted vision of power.
Countering these, we have the unwavering duty of the Sunspears and their collective willingness to sacrifice everything for Ilona, embodying true moral clarity.
And of course, the monumental, heartbreaking sacrifice of the dwarves who transform themselves into stone to become an eternal bulwark against the destroyers. These aren't just plot points, they are profound explorations of moral choice.
These interconnected themes demonstrate the intense moral complexity of Tyria. Characters are consistently faced with impossible choices, where deeply ingrained duty conflicts with personal desires, where loyalty is tested.
And where betrayal, whether by external forces or internal weaknesses, carries immense world-altering weight. The constant presence of profound sacrifice elevates these stories beyond simple conflict.
Highlighting the profound, often tragic, cost of standing for what is right, and the moral fortitude required to choose light over encroaching darkness.
It's a universe where good is often chosen in spite of overwhelming personal cost.
And despite all the destruction, the immense loss, the pervasive despair, and the constant threat of new horrors, the persistent theme of hope and light in darkness shines through. A resilient beacon in a world continually on the brink.
It's embodied in the enduring choice of individuals, like Lóng Tíng, to consistently choose light over shadow, kindness over cruelty.
It's a testament to the persistent spirit of heroism, compassion, and human, or Norn, or Ashura, or Char fortitude, even in a world repeatedly brought to its knees and reshaped by cataclysm.
This theme provides the ultimate counterbalance to the pervasive darkness and the cyclical nature of conflict. It emphasizes that despite all the cataclysms, the betrayals, and the profound losses, there's always a choice to seek and embody light.
To offer kindness, to stand for what is right.
It's a powerful, enduring message of resilience, suggesting that the spirit of good can endure even the most crushing defeats and the most fundamental changes to the world. It's not about grand victories alone, but about the sustained, often quiet acts of defiance against despair.
Lóng Tíng's personal reflections on Tyria's profound teachings are truly the heart of this deep dive, elevating their experiences far beyond that of a mere player. They conclude that Tyria is a world of ruin and hope, a duality that defines its very essence.
And through their arduous journeys and countless battles, they learned a fundamental truth. To do good is not always to win, that sometimes good means standing your ground even when you know you may fall.
This isn't just about gameplay. It elevates their experience to a profound lesson in ethics, personal fortitude, and the nature of enduring commitment.
This personalizes the entire narrative, bringing the grand sagas of Guild Wars down to a deeply human reflection on steadfastness, kindness, and fighting without succumbing to the very cruelty you oppose.
It's about the moral compass one carries, even when the world around you is literally collapsing.
It truly makes you ponder. What memories do you choose to preserve from the stories that have shaped you? And what lessons do you carry forward into your own life from the narratives you've experienced?
Lóng Tíng leaves us with this incredibly powerful and introspective statement, a true encapsulation of their journey and its meaning. I am Lóng Tíng, and I played not to conquer Tyria, but to walk it as one who loved it better than I found it.
And this beautiful, poignant summary, Tyria is a mirror. It shows us what happens when power is everything, when hate shapes us, but also what happens when we choose to be light.
It's a direct call to self-reflection, using the lens of a rich fantasy world to understand deeper universal truths about ourselves.
This final reflection truly encapsulates the deeper meaning of the entire journey. It's not merely about a player's accomplishments within a game, but about the ethical framework they adopted, the values they upheld, and the profound real-world lessons they gleaned from their virtual experiences.
It reinforces the idea that even virtual worlds can offer profound insights into resilience, morality, and the human condition.
And as Lóng Tíng notes, the age of Guild Wars I, the era of ancient threats and the rise of human kingdoms, ultimately ends, but not in a void.
Their poignant words bridge the gap to the next great saga. Tyria changes. The dragons rise. The world I knew fades into legend. But I, Lóng Tíng, remember.
This signals the next era of Tyria, the dawning of the Age of Dragons, leading directly towards the events of Guild Wars II, which begins approximately 250 years later in 1325 AE.
It was truly the quiet before the Age of Dragons, a period of fragile peace bought by immense sacrifice before the world faced an even greater planetary threat.
This acts as a crucial and elegant bridge, connecting the detailed narrative of Guild Wars I to the ongoing story of Tyria. It shows that the struggles, the sacrifices, and the enduring legacies of these heroes from GW1 laid the vital groundwork for future conflicts and inspired new generations of heroes.
The world they fought for continues to evolve, constantly shaped by the powerful echoes of their past, with their deeds literally etched into the Hall of Monuments and in the collective consciousness of Tyria.
Serving as both a warning and an inspiration, the fight, as Tyria always reminds us, is never truly over.
So what does this all mean for us? Reflecting on these profound echoes of Tyria, it reminds us that even in worlds of epic scale and monumental world-shattering challenges, the individual choices, the choice to stand your ground, to show kindness, to remember what was lost, and to build for the future, are what truly shape the narrative. not just of a fantasy world, but perhaps of our own too.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the entire story of Tyria, as so beautifully told and felt by Lóng Tíng, isn't just about a fantasy world or a series of battles. It's a powerful metaphor for resilience, for the enduring impact of legacy, and for the constant, quiet, and often difficult act of choosing light, even when the world is quite literally breaking around you.
It raises an important question, doesn't it? What memories do you choose to preserve from the stories that have shaped you? And what lessons do you carry forward into your own life from the acts of courage and compassion you've witnessed, whether in history, fiction, or your own experience?
The wars may be over, and for many, the server's quiet, as Lóng Tíng muses, but the story endures, living on in the hall of monuments of our minds and hearts.
It's a testament to the idea that the only victory that matters is to have chosen the light even when the world burned.
Beautifully put.
We truly hope this deep dive into the echoes of Tyria has given you a fresh perspective, perhaps ignited a spark of memory for those who walk these lands, or maybe a new curiosity for those encountering them for the first time. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time, keep exploring the hidden depths of knowledge.